And you're on the air.
All right, good evening. Thanks everybody for joining. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission for the City of Westfield for October 4th, 2021. First item of business here will be approval of meeting minutes from September 1st, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Made by, oh, you know what? You know what I didn't do is I didn't take roll call. Excuse me. Let me do a quick roll call here. Ken McGarrion.
Here.
Ken McGarrion is present. Hey, Ken.
Here.
Sarah Unger.
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri.
Here.
Jane. Vinny Olinsky.
Yes.
Bob Bernesi
Yes.
is here. Yeah. Mike Terrell is here. Doug Morash
Here.
is here, and Scott LeBombard is not here. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Approval of minutes from September 1st, 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
Yep. Vinny.
Approved.
Made by Vin Olinsky and second by Bob Bernesi. Any discussion or any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to take roll call. Ken McGarrion.
Yes.
Okay, Sarah Unger.
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri.
Yes.
Vinny Olinsky.
Yes.
Bob Bernesi.
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes, and Doug Morash.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Public participation. Is there anybody here that is not on the agenda this evening that would like to participate for up to 3 minutes and address the commission? Okay, seeing none. First item of business here. Paula Hibbert Pike, Westfield Coordinated Family and Community Program Coordinator Permit, Municipal Playground with fall and winter play groups for dates in October, November, December, January, February, March. January, February, and March. Paula, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. So can you just give us a quick overview of what you're doing?
Sure. We as you know, we were doing these last winter and in the spring at the municipal playground, and we're just looking for these dates to do parent-child play groups again. We'd like to do them twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays to try to hit different families who maybe can't come, because last year we were just doing them on Wednesday, and we felt like there were some families we were missing because we were only offering the same day a week. So we'd like to just do them twice a week for October and November, and then just twice a month for December, January, once in February and once in March. And it'll be the same as we did last time. We'll limit it to 10 children, not necessarily 10 families, but 10 children. And, you know, we'll have them socially distanced, and it's just basically going to be some more stories and song, movement dances, an easy craft that we don't have to get too messy with, and just a little bit of running around on the playground. And it'll be an hour from 10 to 11.
Okay. And just for everybody's knowledge here, we've got October 12th and 15th,
Yeah.
19th and 20th, 26th and 29th, November 2nd and 5th, 9th and 12th, and 16th and 19th, December 7th and 17th, January 11th and 28th, February 11th, and March 8th and 25th.
Yeah, just what it would actually be October 19th and 22nd, not the 20th. My two might look like a zero.
No, I read 22. I must have said 20. Yeah, my bad. Okay, anything else, Paula?
No.
This is the same thing, basically the same thing that we did last year. Right?
Yep, same thing. And I appreciate you guys letting me try it again there, because it was really successful. We had a good time and we had a nice turnout, and it's just a nice place for parents to come. There's parking, there's enough space for us to spread out, so we appreciate it.
Excellent. Is there a motion to approve this?
I motion to approve.
Motion made.
All right, we'll say, motion to approve made by Jane and seconded by Bob.
Yes.
Okay, any discussion, any questions for Paula here before we vote? Okay, seeing none. Take roll. Ken McGarrion,
Yes.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri,
Yes.
Vinnie Olinsky,
yes,
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell, yes, Doug Morash.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thanks, Paula.
Thank you so much. And I'll send you pictures. So,
Awesome. Please do.
thank you.
Excellent. Julie, I just noticed that you were on. I didn't see you before the previous agenda item, so I apologize. I'd like to make a quick modification to the agenda and put Julie Barnes toward the top. She has another meeting that she has to attend this evening and requested if she could go earlier in the meeting to address some concerns on behalf of the Veterans Council. So Julie, please do feel free to share your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My video camera is not working tonight. Sorry about that. I'm here representing the Veterans Council, and we wanted to address Parker Park. And there's some bushes that need to be trimmed in order to comply with ADA standards. Right now, for immediate consideration, we've been working with Scott Hathaway, talking about the two bushes on either side of the entryway of Parker Park. There's the sidewalk there, and they just are really overgrown. So right now, if they could remove those two bushes on either side, that would give plenty of room for the pathway and just a little room on each side. And also to trim the bushes on the sidewalk back so that you could, I mean, they're completely overgrown on the sidewalk. And also trim around the benches so people could sit on the benches. And if that could be accomplished prior to November 11th, that would be wonderful. And we also want to work with Scott and his team on an intermediate plan to remove the bushes at some point in the front and the sides and replace them either with a fence or new hedges, and we can talk about that. And then Scott is working on a long range plan to renovate the entire park, and I believe he's working with UMass on a master plan for that. So right now it's just trimming the bushes, maybe taking out the two on either side of the entrance before Veterans Day. So that's all.
Yeah. So I spoke with Mayor Humison earlier a couple of weeks ago, and I've spoken with Scott a few times on this as well, and gone down to Parker Park. And you're absolutely right. There is a sort of a longer range plan in play for Parker Park. Obviously, we've got some work to do on that before that starts to get worked on. But in terms of the park itself as it stands right now, so I did go down and take a look, and for 1 second. I did go down and take a look, and the bushes, so the bushes specifically on the entrances, what distance do you need there? What distance is ideal to have there for entrance?
Well, the minimum I think for ADA is 36 inches from what I could find. It's just, it's hard for the band people, not only the wheelchair, and I know that's the big concern, but the band to get through with their instruments and everything when they're marching through. And it really, of course, hasn't been a problem in a couple of years because of COVID. But we are planning on having the full band this year. So I believe 36 inches is the min. So because of the rain, I didn't get over there today to do a measurement. I wanted to do that. I
did that. So I did go over and measure those. The west side. So if you're looking at the park from Silver Street, the left entrance is about 42 inches wide now.
Okay.
They did re-trim those bushes a little bit, so there is a
Great.
fair amount of passage there. The right side, depending on where you're at, because they're tall bushes,
Mhm.
are generally 36 inches. There is probably a point or two where it's like 35 and a half.
Mhm.
But it's that side is very close to being right on the like I said, the left side is a little bit wider than than that 36 inches.
Yeah.
I mean, we could look at taking those bushes out. I think that it's gonna look bad if we do take them out. So that's why I was asking how much space we really need, because if we can get away with, between 36 and 42 inches for the end of this year, hopefully we can get something, it can still look sort of finished for this year's ceremonies. And then we could, potentially work on something a little more complete for next year's, for the ceremonies that are held there starting next year. I think the first one's maybe in April.
Yes. So the first one would be in April. So yeah, then we're looking at winter. So you're probably looking at maybe a month, to get this going. In March. So when is your next meeting?
Our next meeting is in November. We have one it's usually the first Monday.
I think it's November 8th.
November 8th. Yeah.
Yes, November 8th.
So yeah, to have it accomplished for April probably isn't going to happen. For May, probably not. It's like, how long are we going to keep delaying this just because it's going to look bad there?
Taking down those bushes will let folks in. I'm just concerned it's going to make the park look poorly, through the winter and everything. And if we need to do it, maybe that's what we need to do. I'm not arguing that fact. People need to be able to get, in particular, the veterans need to be able to get into that park. There's no two ways about that. But the entrances technically at this point, I believe, are ADA compliant or very close to it, such that we could, that.
What about the walkways? Because I know the bushes were completely like half grown over the walkway. So that needs to be.
Yeah, so that absolutely needs to be handled. And I was hoping that Scott would be here tonight to give us an update. I did see that those walkways are very much overgrown around the benches and over the sidewalks, to the point where even after they're cut back, even after the new growth is cut back, they're still overgrown, maybe a third of the way over the walkway and way around the benches.
Yeah.
So there is some significant work that's going to need to be done there. So I did talk to Scott, and he was going to make sure that those bushes were trimmed. New growth was trimmed off of them, and they were trimmed back. Let me see if I have a picture. So for the folks that for the entrances, I don't know if people can see my phone, but those are the bushes at the entrances. And those are them as they've been trimmed back. I can't remember exactly which entrance that is. But that's what we're talking about in terms of those bushes on either side of the entrance. And the bushes that we're talking about that are overgrown over the sidewalk are these bushes right here. And if you can see how far underneath those bushes that sidewalk goes, there is no way, even after the new growth is trimmed off, there is really no way that you could get a wheelchair down those paths without going on to the grass to some extent. So I did talk to Scott. and we are going to get those those internal shrubs trimmed back. But I think part of that master plan, part of that overall plan needs to involve not only the shrubs that go around the park, but also the shrubs along the sidewalks within the park as well.
So, yeah, I mean, for the immediate concern, I guess trimming things back is going to have to be the way it is, but they really need to be removed. And that is not the long range plan that Scott is working on. He's talking about 5-10 years. This needs to be addressed now.
Yep.
So maybe, and it's going to take money, and it's probably not in the budget. So maybe if y'all can maybe work with Scott and look at maybe, come July 2022, putting it in the budget for that and working on it next summer to take out all those bushes and
Yeah.
replace them. Or the Veterans Council, a couple of folks in the Veterans Council had mentioned maybe putting a fence up in the front rather than bushes, so you wouldn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, and I know, and again, I wish Scott was here. I know he's at a conference this evening, which is why he's not on this meeting, but he has some pretty good ideas and was talking about potentially working with folks at the Technical Academy, and I believe from UMass as well, about the potential for putting some sort of lower type shrubs in the front there, potentially not a fence, but just some different sorts of shrubs so that folks could see in better on their way by the park.
Yep.
Again, not something that's going to, obviously not something that we're looking at for November, but something that a little bit longer term.
Yeah. Well, I
we-
fully trust you. I fully trust Scott and
Yep.
his team. They do an amazing job in the whole city. They're really hard workers, and whatever they decide is going to be great. Trimming that picture that you showed, if they could actually trim it back so it's off the sidewalk, I think that would make people feel better. If it's okay, if I just talk to him tomorrow about it and see what he says, that would be great. But I mean, obviously we're not going to be cutting everything down before this event, but if we could get it trimmed back pretty good, that would be awesome.
Yeah, agreed. And I know, and I've had conversations with Scott about it. So he's obviously well aware of it. Sounds like you have as well.
Yeah.
Feel free to reach out to him. I know it's on his agenda to get done before the November date that you mentioned. Was it November 8th? November 11th, sorry.
November 11th, yeah, Veterans Day. Yep. That would be great. Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Anybody?
I think the only thing is it going to be sufficient to have that 36 inches of clearance at the entrances? I think that's the biggest question on
Yeah,
my
I
mind.
mean, ideally, if it could be to the edges of the walkway at the entrance, just those two entrances. And if you said that other one, I haven't gotten a chance to look. I'm so sorry. That other one's like 42. Did you say? That's probably beyond the walkway. If that one you showed the picture of could be trimmed back a little bit more, to clear the whole walkway, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for thanks for your time here, Julie, and we'll be in touch.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye now. Okay. Next item of business, Jessica King, Director of Homeless and Support Services, Valley Opportunity Council. Hi, Jessica. Welcome.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
So I am the representative from VOC, but I'm also a representative for the city of Westfield through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, CBG grant that you guys received for COVID-19 help for rental assistance. And I was proposing that I was able to use the pavilion square or the Park Square Pavilion space to have an event so that I could have a nice place to display, something fun for City of Westfield residents to come and see that there's an event going. We've been trying a lot through the last couple of months through your senior center where we've been reaching out to your housing authorities. I've been passing out flyers at places like Price Right and supermarkets throughout the city. And you guys were awarded a ton of money, and we've only spent maybe a quarter of it. And so we have a ton of money and a little bit of time to spend it. So I was thinking that would be a perfect location to kind of grab everybody's idea of coming in and just kind of applying for this specific grant. It's designed so that we can pay a little bit of your arrears, but we're working with landlords to help pay for 2 months moving forward. So in total, they pay for about 3 months of rent. And during that time, tenants or even clients who have mortgage payments are able to kind of get that time to get back on their feet and benefit from this program that the city has been awarded.
Right. You're looking at Park Square Pavilion?
Yeah.
Okay. And the dates that you're looking at are October 11th.
Yeah.
From 8 to 4. And 10 in October 13th from 4 to 8. Is that correct? Okay. We think we're going to have 20 plus people.
Yes, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
All right. And just in terms of the event itself, what are you envisioning in terms of like what sort of signage, or you're going to have like what is it going to look like from a passerby, for example?
So I actually was talking to Peter about this, and I wanted to get some input, I guess, from you guys as well, because it could go two different ways. Have an event where I just bring, tables and tents and just, advertise it through the schools and hopefully the city webpage, things like that. Or we could have it in a later event and make it a little more attractive. Something where I send out, flyers to the schools and hopefully it'll reach more of the population than we've been able to contact and connect with. But I was thinking if we did it later in the evening, we could make it more of a fun kind of family bounce house, on the spot approvals with staff there and kind of, I don't know. I was thinking bounce house. I could rent a movie screen, invite families, anybody who wants to come and kind of get the word out there that way. So it really depends on what you guys are willing to allow me to do.
So usually folks come in with a plan and sort of lay it out, and then really there's only a few things that we generally are looking for in terms of, if you're putting gigantic signs out there or you're looking to put signage up before or after, there's some ordinances in the town around that.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, we ask people to make sure that, they leave the green or any park that they're in the way they found it, in terms of just picking up, making sure there's no trash, any trash that's there is in the receptacles and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
In terms of bounce houses, I don't think we've had a bounce house in the center of town. I don't know if somebody else can chime in on that thought. I don't ever remember that happening previously. But in terms of tents and, tables and things like that, certainly that's not a problem.
Okay. I mean, typically that's what I had done previously at the senior center. They had a table and a tent set up and we had, passed out flyers and things like that. But I was looking to do a little bit more so that it's kind of grabbing everybody's eye. Because of the limited amount of time, I want to make sure that your residents get to utilize this money. We don't want to give it back.
Mhm. Understood.
So-
Understood.
So you guys are not, you've never had a bounce house there? Is that something that's a little too big? I'm not familiar with Westfield. I'm from Northampton, so I kind of wanted to, run it by you guys and see what your thoughts were as well. Definitely tables and tents and things like that, but bounce house?
I do not remember there having been, certainly in my time, bounces for events in the park. The only thing I don't know, I would have to double check, is if there is any sort of an insurance concern or anything like that in terms of having that there. Anybody thoughts, comments for folks that have been on the commission for quite a few years here? Any recent memory of that sort of a configuration on one of the parks?
I don't think so, not on the green. And you'd also have to be thinking about the electrical. I don't know how much power that would need in
Okay.
that area.
Yeah, they would bring generators for us, but if we needed them. But I mean, it's fine. I've never utilized that space before and I wasn't sure. So I figured I'd pick your brains, but definitely we plan on having tables, chairs, and tents. We would not have huge signage. We would have flyers that were passed out prior to the event. We'd advertise on our Facebook page with our fuel department that already utilizes Westfield residents as contacts, our WIC department that's already in Westfield. But we wouldn't put up any other signs or anything like that.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Jessica? Okay, is there a motion to approve the request?
So
moved, Bob Bernesi. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Doug Morash. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to take roll call. Ken McGarrian,
Yes.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri. Jane, you're on mute.
Yes.
Vinnie Alinsky,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes, and Doug Morash.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. Take care.
Good luck.
Thank you too. Real quick, if folks aren't talking, or if it's not their agenda item, if you guys could mute, we're getting a little bit of feedback on the line. Okay. Next up is Jeff Burke with an update on skate park locations. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
Going great. How's everything going with you?
Doing well, thanks. I just moved back to the area and I have some updates from other communities on their skate park projects. I just figure any bit of information would be helpful to our project in Westfield. So we just announced a location for the East Hampton skate park today in downtown East Hampton. It'll be right by Town Hall, right behind Town Hall and the police station, right next to the pond right there. So we've been working on that for a few months now, and we had some work done by GZA architects to see if that land would be feasible, and we just found out that it is, and we got buy-in from the mayor and the chief of police. So East Hampton has a location. Greenfield just was awarded a park grant for $400,000 for their skate park, and that unlocked an additional $350,000 that the mayor had dedicated to that project. So total funds to be used to the Greenfield skate park is $350,000. So regarding the Westfield skate park, I think the last time that we spoke, Scott had said that there was some confusion as to whether the land that the current Westfield skate park is on is owned by the city of West, or the Parks Department, or the school systems. So we were trying to figure out how we should move forward. And I think that's an unknown right now. whether it's on school property or whether it's on parks property. And, if it's on school property, do we continue with that location or do we try to find a different location? So I think we just need to get to the bottom of, who the land is owned by and if we can, redesign and redevelop the current location. I think we all decided that that would be the easiest way forward would be to stay at the current location. But if there are issues with funding a site that's on school property or, I think that's our biggest question right now is it on school property or not?
Yeah, and I think that was from going back to previous conversations, I think that was the major concern because a park grant can only be given for parkland. And I think that was the biggest potential roadblock for that site. Now, I know there were a couple of other sites that we had started to investigate the possibility of utilizing. And but I think it's got to be that balance of being in a place where people are going to come use it, right? So putting it somewhere located near downtown would be probably the best in my mind.
Definitely, especially with the college, you want people to be able to get to it easily that are going to college.
Yeah. What is your latest? What have your latest interactions been with like Scott and folks from Park and Rec?
I haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
So I'm kind of just waiting on a response back on, how they feel about the location and, I really don't know.
Okay. Why don't I do this, Jeff? Why don't I make a couple of phone calls tomorrow and see if we can start that conversation again. The details, again, are a little fuzzy because it's been a little while since we've had that conversation. But let's resurrect that conversation and see if we can't identify, at the very least, the right piece of property that we need to target in order to try to start getting the funding through.
Yeah, I think once we have the location, things will be able to start working a lot faster. And I can, take a lot of that work. I think we just need to really just nail down this location.
Understood.
So that's all.
Okay. Excellent. Any questions for Jeff? All right. Looks like you're off the hook, Jeff.
All right.
Thanks for dropping in.
Thanks for having me.
I think I have your number.
Yep.
So let's plan to talk later this week.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Next up is Jerry Bliven, concern over noise and music at Bullens Field regarding football. Welcome, Jerry.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I just unmuted. I want to thank Bridget Matthews-Kane and Mr. Alinsky and Peggy Garowzik for helping me to manage how to get on to this agenda for Zoom meetings and for the members for their time. Now that Park and Rec Commission is overseeing the use of Bullens Field instead of the school department, we were advised to bring our concerns to you. We just want to make the members aware of some of the issues we have as neighbors of the field. Just so we can shed some light on why the youth football became an issue. They're not the main issue, okay? We live on Woodbridge Lane, and our backyard abuts the cemetery across from Bullens Field. When we first moved there, it was a school field that was used for Westfield High School sports. Baseball was played in the afternoon after school and was done by the end of June. Football games were on Saturday mornings, and the only music was the high school band. Then the city put in lights and some games were played at night. Then use increased to include Babe Ruth, Little League, boys and girls soccer, field hockey, Westfield Technical Academy sports, and out-of-state Babe Ruth tournaments, and the addition of the loudspeaker. Now, it's great and nice that the kids have so many opportunities to play sports, but the lack of courtesy to the neighborhood by the adults in charge was an issue. They were blasting announcements and music through the loudspeaker and grooming the field at 12:30 in the morning. Seriously, banging metal as they dismantled equipment and running the lawnmower at 12:30 in the morning. When we called the police, they said, oh, they checked it out. Oh, they're grooming the field, like it was an okay thing to do. This was too much. This prompted the need for an agreement with the Westfield Public Schools and the superintendent at the time, Alton Spray. So I forwarded a copy of that to Mr. Alinsky. Please refer to the 8 regulations agreed upon back in 1993. They're just common sense and basic courtesy. A few years ago, the city transferred the use of the school field to the Park and Rec Commission. So now it's your ball game. And they did this to accommodate the Starfires so that they could play their games all summer long and have practices and have a beer garden and create traffic problems for us and everything else. We would like the agreement we have with the city adhered to, especially the rules for use of the loudspeaker by all the parties using the field. After a long spring and summer of activity, last year was better with COVID actually, we thought we might finally get some relief from the excessive noise coming from the loudspeaker, which comes directly at us from the field. Sound travels in a straight line. But most recently, in early September, youth football returned to the field. They had it set up like a carnival atmosphere with multiple teams, a trampoline, bounce tent, excessively loud music blaring, we will rock you through the loudspeaker, and an announcer screaming through the loudspeaker. It was just obnoxiously loud. It also occurred on the Friday night football game. We can't enjoy our backyard and our home and have to close our windows if we want any peace. Youth sports is fine and no problem with the kids playing football, but it shouldn't be an annoyance to the people who are paying the taxes that fund these activities. I've been to dozens of baseball and soccer games when my own kids played and never heard a loudspeaker at any of them. We are appealing to the members of the Park and Rec Commission, who are now in charge, to consider the consequences to the people who live near the field each time a request is made to use the field. Stipulate what can or can't be done, and perhaps work out a plan for preventing abuse of the loudspeaker during sports activity. It isn't just a 2-hour game. It's hundreds of events and almost constant activity from April to November. Who can be reached when a situation occurs? It isn't much relief to talk to someone days, weeks after the event. It's now a month since that first football thing. Many times it is just used unnecessarily when teams practice and when they groom the field. They could use headphones if they can't play ball without music blaring. So
let me address a couple of
there used to be more trees. Yeah, I'm one last paragraph if you want. Okay.
Sure,
There used
go
to be
ahead.
more trees around the field, which helped to buffer some of the noise and block the lights. A number of old spruce trees that surrounded the field and a line of arborvitae behind the baseball bleachers have been taken down. Can these be replaced and a sound barrier put up until the trees have grown? Once again, please address our concerns and honor the intent of the agreement.
Thanks. Thanks, Jerry. So a few things. So when this was originally brought to my attention, which was a few weeks ago, it was specifically around Westfield youth football. So unfortunately, I'm not prepared to speak to all of the items that you mentioned there, although I would love to to be privy to the 1993 list that you had. If you could forward that to me, that would be great. In terms of Westfield youth football specifically, so I don't know what the September date was. I know they had their first day where they had pictures and so on, and I was not privy to that at all. In terms of like what if they had you mentioned a carnival like type atmosphere down there. I was not aware that was what the intention was, but I do know they were having pictures, and they often have they do have that blow up helmet that the kids run through. I spoke with the folks from Westfield Youth Football specifically about the noise down there, and they're of course they're very apologetic. They feel that I've been working with Melanie Cooper there, and she did acknowledge there were a couple of songs that were played sort of directly out of a phone into the microphone, and they did come across a little bit louder than what the normal levels were. They are trying to be very sensitive to the noise and how that carries through that neighborhood, and they've agreed to basically turn it down to the extent that as long as the people in the opposing bleachers can hear it, they'll turn it down to whatever level they can in order to be sensitive to the neighbors. So I'm hoping that in subsequent games, this will be. Did we lose Jerry? I think we lost Jerry. I'll continue talking here for a few minutes. Maybe she'll rejoin. But again, the folks at Westfield Youth Football, when I spoke with them, were apologetic and were more than willing to reduce the noise, the music, and so on to the lowest level possible, so long as the people on the field could hear it, and particularly the people across the field. In terms of the other events, I do know that there are, being involved in Babe Ruth for quite a few years, I do know that there are quite a few ordinances in place in terms of not being able to use the groomer after a certain time, the lights having to be turned off after a certain time, and so on. And I know from a Babe Ruth standpoint, folks take that very seriously. And that is, in every instance that I was ever down there, adhered to by that organization. I
Mr.
can't
Chair,
speak for everybody. Yes. Hey,
as
Peter.
the sound designer for the baseball field, we specifically designed that system to not go out past, and we put a decibel meter out at the scoreboard and at center field, and it is far less decibels from the sound system, even at full power, than a car.
Yeah.
So for baseball, it's all focused inward. And we've gotten complaints from the Starfires. It's not even loud enough for them. They claim the people in the stands can't hear it. So we designed that system to be inward focused instead of outward focused. So I'm not sure what the complaint on the baseball side is. I do know that the way the football system is designed, those speakers are mounted up on the light towers, and they do face directly across to the stands. And if some of the trees are now gone, because I think they were diseased over there might leak into the neighborhood a little bit. But there is volume controls, and you can turn it down. So on the football side of the house as well. Because I'm very familiar with both systems.
I seem to have lost contact with you right after I finished talking. So I haven't heard anything for the last 5 minutes.
Hi, Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Peter Coles. I did the sound design system for the baseball field. And that's been that system has been inwardly focused, and we did take a decibel meter out to the scoreboard area and to center field. And the decibel reading was far less than just a motor vehicle driving by, because we had several drive by while we were testing. And And the Starfires said during their season that they'd love to get more power out of the system because it's not even, they claim it's not even loud enough to hear in the stands.
Well, you can hear it very clearly on my deck and in my kitchen.
From the Starfires?
Sound travels in a straight line.
I
Yes.
understand that, ma'am.
Oh,
That's, I do sound design for a living.
right.
So back in terms of Westfield youth football, thanks Pete for the input. So back in terms of Westfield youth football, Jerry, I'll give you the nickel version of my explanation based on the folks that I spoke with at that are affiliated with Westfield youth football. They did acknowledge that there were a few songs that played louder than they probably should have based on the way they played out, and are going to be sensitive to that moving forward. They are not using it for play-by-play, which is, I think, strictly sort of one of the items that were in that agreement in terms of, you can't just announce every single play and every single act that goes through because it's just constant noise through the neighborhood. And they've agreed to basically turn down the PA system to the extent that as long as the folks across the field can hear it, they'll, as long as they can hear it, they'll continue to try to make it quieter for those Sunday games as they can. I think in terms of, again, based on your request, I was looking at this inquiry as just being specific to Westfield youth football. And I think that maybe is what has sort of rekindled the conversation. But perhaps there's a larger story or a larger conversation that needs to be had in terms of just taking a look at Bullens and seeing if there's anything that can be done to make it quieter. And also just making sure that, any of the ordinances that have been put in place for the neighborhood are being adhered to.
Mike, feel like he isn't played at the Boons. It's played at the high school.
Field hockey, okay. Yeah, I know soccer is played there, baseball, football, as far as I know. That's and then of course we have Babe Ruth and Starfires that play there as well. So Jerry, I'm going to continue to work with. I've been in constant contact with the folks at Westfield Youth Football. They're not back home until October 17th. That's their next home date. And again, I've been down there working with them and talking with them, and I'll plan to be there for the October 17th date as well. Just to see, just to talk to them and ask them to just make sure that the volume is at a reasonable level for both the folks in the field, but also for the folks in the surrounding neighborhoods. And I'm happy again, Jerry, for you to reach out to me directly via email if you'd like a more immediate conversation so that you don't have to wait until the meeting the next time.
Okay, what's the best way to reach you? Because I don't think I got any response, and I think it's part of the city's email system. I only heard from Mr. Olinsky when I sent out an email to you and a few others.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll reach out to Commissioner Olinsky and I'll get your email and I'll send you my personal email just to make sure that then if you have any questions, you can send both to my personal and my city email as well.
All right, and when is the best time to address other issues? The football, like I said, it was just the crowning blow after finally getting a few weeks of relief that they came back in. They were not there for a few years. But when's the best time to address all the other issues?
I think we probably need to sit down and go through them kind of one by one and see if there's anything that can be done to address them. And so if there's specific violations that you're concerned about, happy to look into them individually. There's maybe a potential that there might be something that could be done at the field to try to mitigate, the sound from leaking beyond the fields. But let's address those issues sort of one by one. And I'm happy to address those directly. And if of course, if there's anything that needs to be done or anything that needs commission involvement, we would bring it back to the entire group. And if there were any changes that were going to be made, if there were any actions that needed to be taken or anything like that.
Did you comment on the situation with the trees around the park? Because like I said, I couldn't hear for a long time.
So there were some of the trees around the park that were diseased. I believe Peter brought this up earlier and had to be taken down. So that's why they were removed.
I know, but can they be replaced? I mean, there used to be trees all around, not just the ones from this past year that were taken down, but there used to be trees all around.
Yeah, let me talk to Scott Hathaway. He is the tree warden in town. And just writing myself a note. I can give him a call tomorrow and see what the situation is as far as those trees go, if they're being replaced. Usually if there's trees taken down, there's trees that are replaced. So let me check in with him and see what the intentions are with respect to replacing those. I'll reach out to you with an email to let you know where we ended up.
All right.
All right, any other questions for Jerry? Okay, Jerry, thanks for your concern. Appreciate your input, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, next item of business, Westfield on weekends. So Bob, I don't believe is with us. These were requests that he made at the last meeting. He had made the request but had not had the permit filled out. So he has a request here, which is for Park Square. I'll set it on here. Pardon me. For the lighting of the menorah, excuse me. Yep, for the lighting of the menorah. We talked about this during the last meeting. It is basically, they don't know when the lighting is going to be. It is going to be sometime during Hanukkah, which is November 27th to December 4th. But again, that's a renewal of a permit that is put through every year. So he'll let us know what the exact date is once that comes through. So I guess I would ask the commission for an approval of this application for the Park Square Town Green for the lighting of the menorah during the dates of Hanukkah, November 27th to December 4th. Is there a motion to accept?
Make a motion.
Vinnie Alinsky makes a motion. Is there a second? Second by Bob Bernesi. Any additional questions or conversation? All right, I'm going to take roll call. Ken McGarrion. Did we lose Ken? I think we lost Ken. Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri,
Yes.
Vinnie Alinsky,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes. Doug Morash.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
there's a saying, sculpture.
Yeah, ice sculptures, but I don't have a, it was made mention, but I don't have a permit for that. But let me very quickly, I apologize for the delay here, but let me very quickly go back and take a look at that. Oh, it's here.
It does say ice sculpture on the permit.
It does say ice sculpture. You're absolutely right. So when I printed it, I did not get,
It's ice sculpture, yeah.
yeah, when I printed it, I didn't get the first page. I only got the second page, which was the lighting of the menorah.
Yeah, I just saw it.
So it looks like November 27th, 2021 is the ice sculpture activities before the mayor's tree lighting ceremony. So again, an addition onto the application. We already have an application approved and in place for the lighting of the tree. And this is for earlier in the day. Is there a motion to approve this permit as well?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks, Sarah. Motion made by Jane DeBarbieri, seconded by Sarah Unger. Any additional questions or conversation?
Mike, this is Doug. These are just, he presented these last time. He just didn't have the specifics, right? If I recall.
Yeah, we discussed them all, but he didn't have a specific application for.
That's right.
For these items. Yep.
Okay, yeah, just want to make sure I remember that right. Okay.
All right. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to go through a roll call here. Ken Megarian. Ken is not here any longer. Sarah Unger.
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri.
Yes.
Danielinsky.
Yes.
Bob Vernesi.
Yes.
Mike Terrell. Yes. Doug Morash.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And thanks, Bob, for bringing that up. All right. Next item, Don Wilgus, permit request to place veteran monument in Kane and Wojciechowicz Park. Don, you might be muted. All right. Don, you might have to hit the mute button to unmute yourself, which I believe is in the lower left-hand corner. There you go.
Okay. Good evening. My name's Don Wilgus, project manager, and I'm here with George Barnett, chairman of the Purple Heart organization in Westfield Purple Heart Trail and Westfield Purple Heart community. And we're asking permission to put a monument up at Wojciechowicz Kane Park that would honor the veterans that either passed away or still living that served their country. And we need permission from the park, and we would like to set up a meeting with somebody at the park to go up there and look at a site for the putting this monument. And we have commissioned Smith Monument, and they're ordering a stone that's coming out of India because it's going to be all in red, the blood of a veteran. And please ask us any questions.
So Don, are you able to see me?
Well, I got a thing down here. I can see you fine. Yes,
You can see me. Okay.
we're new at this.
So this is this the
That's
proposed?
the markup so far. Yes.
Okay. Do we know when we'll have like a more accurate rendering of it?
Maybe at the next meeting would be fine if you're looking for something other than that. But Chuck Blood from Smith Monument is working on this. So
okay.
We're in the process of going on GoFund and Facebook, and this will be no cost to anybody in the city of Westfield unless they want to donate to this project.
When were you looking to have a meeting down there with a member of the commission?
up to the commission.
Okay. Is there somebody on the commission that would like to volunteer to work with Don and George on the location of this stone?
I will.
Okay, Bob, thank you.
Okay.
So, Don, do you want to reach out to Commissioner Vernesi and just set up a time with him individually via email, or how would you like to set that up?
I'll give him a call. I'll meet him at Dunkin' Donuts, one or the other.
There you go. Okay, perfect.
But is there any questions you have for us? Because this is going to be quite a project for us, and we want it to be laid out for next year's Memorial Day event. So is there any questions about anything? Because we don't want to overstep our bounds. And years ago, myself working at Parker Park, we did a lot of things over there that people don't realize, like changing the park name and putting the stone out there, power washing, fixing the sidewalks, getting donations. We know how to work within the city, but we don't want to overstep our bounds on this project through the park now.
What is the, just out of curiosity, Don, what is the size, the total dimensions of the?
I think it's on that paper, and I don't have the paper.
Okay, okay. So the numbers that we have here, so for example, the bottom of the stone is 5-0. Is that
Yes.
5 feet? Is that what that
Yes.
is that what that indicates?
That's 5 feet, yes.
Okay. So approximately 2 feet high.
Yeah.
And 5 feet wide. Is that?
Wide. Yeah, this project's gonna be costing between $13,000 to $20,000 on our part. It's not gonna be a shabby looking monument. It's gonna be respectful to all the veterans that have passed away and buried in Westfield, which are over 4,230.
Okay. Yeah, excellent. No, that sounds it sounds like it's going to be impressive. So at this point, you're looking for a meeting at the park to determine where it should go. And the actual makeup of the stone is yet to be, yet to be determined. I think you mentioned that might be available at the next meeting. Should we plan to have you at the next meeting as well?
Yes, we will be at the next meeting, and I'll get something from Mr. Blood. And George Barnett right here, the chairman, he's working on with him closely, so I think we can get it all together, right, George?
Yeah, we should be able to get it up.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think this is, I personally, and I'll let other folks comment as well. I think it's a great idea. And, between yourself and Commissioner Vernesi, that you'll find the right place for it. And I think it's great, everything that you folks do in terms of our parks and fundraising and so on. We really appreciate it.
And I like, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'd like to give you if you folks want to, next year in the spring before Memorial Day and all, we've done it twice already, but I still need permission from the park. We have power washed all those monuments out there at Parker Park. We've got a power washer. We don't destroy anything and we clean them up. So if you'd like that eventually in your meeting to say, go ahead, we will do that next year.
Okay, yeah, and we'll have you coordinate it with Scott and his crew as well.
Okay, very good.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Wilgus? Okay, it doesn't look like there's any other questions, Don. We'll be happy to put you on the agenda for next month. I don't think there's anything to vote on here, but it sounds like you and Bob will get together and determine the right location. And then once we have the location and a little more detail, we can all kind of sit down and talk through it and sort of do an official vote.
The lady I was working with, I think his first name was, is it Peggy? Who's working at?
yeah.
I will
Peggy,
send
yeah.
her some paperwork and some pictures, and then she can and email them to you folks. And we want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having us tonight.
All right. Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And George. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next item of business, schedule of bills. Did everybody have a chance to view the schedule of bills, and are there any questions? Seeing none.
If I got the schedule bills.
Okay. Any questions from anybody in terms of the schedule of bills for Bob or Vinny?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Staff reports. I know we don't have Scott or Jim. I do have a report from Jim. Westfield Suburban Basketball and Westfield United Basketball tryouts are happening next week. And options are still being explored for United Basketball. And Pee Wee Soccer has 187 participants. And the program has moved to Westfield Middle School. Those are the updates that we have from Jim in terms of the Park and Rec programs this month. I've got a couple of items that I wanted to bring up just before we close. That is the end of the agenda items here for this week, for this month's meeting. But I did want to bring to folks' attention, due to COVID, this had been delayed for about a year, but coming up on October 15th, Westfield State University will induct its 24th class of Westfield State Athletics Hall of Fame inductees. And included in that group is our own former athletic director up at Westfield State University, Ken McGarrian. So just wanted to congratulate him for that upcoming event. Again, October 15th of this year. It looks like he's having connection problems this evening. He's connected and unfortunately disconnected a few times, but congratulations, Ken. And looking forward to having that ceremony finally be able to take place for you and the other folks that are part of that the 24th class there.
Mike,
Yes. Hey, Ken.
Is that for Bob?
Oh, is that
Mike?
Bob?
Yes,
Hey, Bob.
for Bob. This is Karen, the
Hi,
wife.
Karen.
Bob wants me to let the commission know, I'd rather stick with Ken's wonderful news, but Bob has been diagnosed with ALS. And we are actively involved with an amazing team at Mass General Hospital and their ALS clinic. And he's getting lots of therapies, and there are several support groups, including the Veterans Administration and a couple of private nonprofits. So if you guys have any concerns about why he sounds weird or why he's a little bit slow, he's being very cautious, but that's the deal. And thank you for any thoughts and positive thoughts and prayers that you can give to all of us.
Karen, thank you very much. I'm very sorry to hear that. Very glad to hear that he's in good hands with the folks at Mass General. I can speak from personal experience that it is top-notch care there. But Bob, certainly wish you all the best. And certainly if there's anything that anybody here can do to help, we're more than happy to do so.
Thank you.
One other item that I wanted to bring up. Back on August 26th, unfortunately, we lost a member of our Parks and Recreation family. Angel Ocasio, Louis Angel Ocasio, passed away. 30 years, I think he was 30 years involved in Parks Park and Rec softball. He's the coordinator down there for quite a few years. I don't know the exact number, certainly before my time. So just wanted to send out condolences to he and his family, his wife and children. Very sad situation, and sorry, of course, to have to report that. Anybody else have any announcements or anything before we close here?
I just say we're thinking about you, Bob, and again, like Mike said, anything you and Karen need, just let us know. And then on a more business front, Mike, I cut out a little bit part of the meeting, but I think, did you ask the woman that was speaking about Bullens Field to send that list from 1993 or 94?
I'm going to reach out, and I'm going to send along my personal email as well as my city email. And Vinny, do you have that?
I have it, and as soon as this meeting's over, I'm forwarding it to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
So we'll have it here shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, next meeting is scheduled for November 8th. So appreciate everybody's time. Is there a motion to adjourn for this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by Jane DeBarbieri and seconded by, was that Bob?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody's time.
Mike.
And we'll talk again next month if we don't talk before. Thank you.